Braxton Ashcraft danced through danger. The farm system is cooking with gas, and the Pirates' pitching usage this past month, let's just say it's probably not going to look like that next year. Let's talk about what's real and what's noise on Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan, and today we've got three big topics. First, a gutsy win over the Dodgers with Braxton Ashcraft on the mound, Shohei Ohtani scratched from pitching, a full check-in on the Pirates' top minor league performers, stats, stories, rankings, whatever, ETAs. We'll get into all of it. And third, we're talking about the Pirates' pitcher usage this past month and what it means for 2026 and whether we can trust the results we're seeing right now. But first, this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for two to any golf tournament in the USA. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry, no purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. So, another game against the Dodgers. I warned you guys about these two series against the Dodgers and Milwaukee and what a tough test it was going to be for this Pittsburgh Pirates team. So, of course, they won the first two games. Why wouldn't they? Why would they try to make me look smart, right? Of course, it was a difficult match, but man, they have really risen. And the pitching has done great. The pitching is the main reason for it. Even in the 9-7 win, pitching played a huge role. Pitching never allowed the Dodgers to take as much advantage of the situations they were handed as they could have. And they ended up winning by 2 runs in that game because of it. And, they're obviously sending Paul Skeens to the mound tonight. And yes, it's against Blake Snell, so another really good pitcher. But when you send Paul Skeens to the mound, listen, you're not expecting to lose. I don't really care who you're facing or who the other pitcher is, or there really should not be anything like that when you have a pitcher like Paul Skeens. He's 9-9, so obviously that hasn't been the case. But for the most part, you expect a brilliant performance, and I expect that's what we'll get. Let's talk a little bit about yesterday, though, in particular. Braxton Ashcraft, 3 innings pitched, 4 strikeouts, 2 hits, 4 walks, and he escaped 2 bases-loaded jams. I don't know what was going on with Braxton yesterday. He wasn't as sharp as he normally is, but he got himself into trouble, and then, man, he just manned up and got out of it. The walks have got to assuage with him. It's something that's plagued him throughout his career when he's been healthy. Walks have been the issue. And he hasn't done it much since he's been up here at this level. So it's a little shocking to see. But it was also pretty plain to see he did not have his typical stuff, which should scare the league because he just helped shut out the Dodgers without his stuff. The Dodgers are also historically struggling right this second with runners in scoring position. I mean, we're talking like Pirates level of futility lately. They left 10 runners on base last night. And Braxton Ashcraft was responsible for 6 of them. So, you say what you want. That's a good performance when you get out of it. Shohei Ohtani, of course, was scratched from pitching due to illness, but he still hit leadoff and doubled. I know there were some disappointed fans that reached out to me and said, why did that happen? It's funny because a lot of those same fans were reaching out to me about how mad they were the Pirates didn't somehow finagle Paul Skeens facing him. And turns out, had they done so, it wouldn't have made much of a difference as far as that matchup coming to be, would it? Brian Reynolds and Andrew McCutchen, a couple of solo home runs in this game. That's really what the difference was. Brian Reynolds, boy, it sure is good to see his bat back to normal, and it has been. He's been really, really good. Andrew McCutchen stays hot. Another big dinger. He keeps moving up that hits list, and it's so exciting. Just about every hit he gets anymore passes somebody on the list and inevitably a Hall of Famer or somebody that was at least highly considered to be one. Let's see. It was a gritty win, I'd say. Young arm stepped up. Mike Burrows would go ahead and follow. Braxton Ashcraft did really well. I thought he fought through some things too, but he's really been struggling recently, especially with the long ball. So I was a little bit scared about seeing him face this lineup, and it didn't end up being an issue at all. The Pirates, of course, now are 51-51 under Don Kelly. This matchup in particular is a $333 million roster versus an $87.4 million roster. It ain't supposed to be even. It's not supposed to be the Pirates up 2-0. That's for damn sure. None of this matters as far as like a head-to-head matchup, one series. Nobody's going to claim the Pirates are better than the Dodgers, but this pitching makes it possible to hang with anyone, which is kind of the point of building that pitching staff the way they have. It makes everything better. It gives you a chance. Without it, you have no chance. Doesn't matter how you hit. If you can't pitch, you can't stay in these games, especially against some of these teams. The Pirates have really abused the Dodgers with their pitching. Post All-Star break, this team has had an OPS of 708. That's good for 20th in Major League Baseball. I'm saying this specifically because I keep hearing like, well, there's nothing different, or people keep quoting their overall season numbers and, well, they're still last in baseball in OPS at 6. Yeah, they are. They're 30th in baseball in OPS. That's not good. That's not what you want, obviously. All I'm telling you, and you take this wherever you like, their OPS post All-Star break is 708, and that's 20th in baseball. There has been a definitive shift with this team. They are not playing like their overall season numbers indicate, and that's because they started so historically bad. There's almost no climbing out of that ditch. Batting average, 244, 18th since the All-Star break. We kept saying all this team has to do is hit a little bit better, right? And the wins would come. Well, their batting average all season, 234, good for 27th. It's only a 10-point difference. But just that little extra help has changed the dynamic of this team. It's changed their possibilities. Runs scored since the All-Star break, 186. That's good for 23rd. Again, this offense is not a juggernaut. But considering that all season they've scored 509 and that's 30th in the league, I think you should see from the All-Star break on, there's been some improvement, marginal improvement. I'm not bragging about the improvement. I'm certainly not here saying mission accomplished. But I am saying the theory that we've been working with all season was if they could just hit a little better, we'd see results because this pitching staff was so great. And I'm here to tell you, past the All-Star break, guess what they've proven to you? They were right. You're right. Just a little more hitting was all they needed. Now, Ben Harrington apologists are probably going to tell you that this is an indication that he actually has built a team that can hit a little bit better. They just started out real rough and they were missing a couple guys due to injury. I can get behind that. That's true. That is accurate. That has happened. But I'd also say, like, you're in charge of the depth too, and you're in charge of making moves to address injury shortfalls that crop up. Like, you knew Spencer Horwitz was injured in spring training. There was an opportunity on the table there to replace that production. Go out and get yourself another first base option. Nick Gonzalez got hurt on the first day of the season. There are ways they could have gone about addressing that. It didn't have to go all season long and then get them back, and then you can pretend that everything would have been peaches and cream if it had worked from the very beginning. This team is 63-77. There are 22 games left in this baseball season. They can tie last year's record with the 76 wins if they go 13-9. They are 9-3 in their last 12. In fact, the fact that they could hit that number is kind of insane. A month ago, I wasn't telling you it was possible. A month ago, I was laughing at some people that were suggesting it should still be a goal. Just looking at the gauntlet they were facing in their schedule, I didn't see it as a possibility. But they're making it a reality. And I can see nothing bad coming from that. Maybe draft position. But since there's a lottery anyway, at this point, who cares, right? As long as you're up there in the lottery, you got just as much a chance to have the number 1 overall pick as most everyone else. I'm not going to nitpick that. I'm happy with their performance. I'm certainly happy with what Don Kelly has done here. It's kind of like the hardest thing when you go about discussing the Pirates changing their management. I want them to. I want them to replace the GM, but I kind of want to keep just about everybody that he's brought on board. I don't want them to touch with the coaching staff right now. I don't want them to really mess with the development system. I really like the drafts and the new direction there, and everything's working right now. I don't really want to replace everything else around him, which begs the question, do I really want him replaced? And yeah, I think I do, because it's still major league decision making that I think is lacking for this team as far as what they put together. And I think there's never a sense of urgency to fix things that crop up that you weren't expecting. And unfortunately, this team, they expect everything. They plan it all out. They think they know exactly what the map is going to take them to. They're wrong, but they do it. When we come back, minor league update. I know you guys love this, and boy, we got a lot of good performers to go through. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of golf course favorites to non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-Hour Energy Transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. Last week, it was so dry on the course, and I've been struggling so much with my 3-wood. I topped the ball, and it rolled for a good 200 yards. I mean, you got to love course conditions helping you almost as much as a 5-Hour Energy would. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. The grape ginger lime flavor of 5-Hour Energy Transfusion gives you the best parts of the clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the bev cart. Now you can amp up fun with even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the USA. Tee up for that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. And this all ends October 31st, 2025. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. Hit me with a like. Leave me a comment. Let's talk about some of this stuff. Let's talk about prospects because they have been hot. And in so doing, I think I want to try to just give you a little bit of vision of how I look at these boards, and you'll see what I mean as I get through it. Let's start with the top, right? Connor Griffin. He is the Pirates' number 1 prospect, number 1 overall in baseball for that matter. He's at AA Altoona. He has, in August, hit 284, 6 home runs, 18 RBI, and 920 OPS. Youngest player in Altoona history, obviously, 5-tool potential, no doubt. ETA listed on the Pirates' own site about prospects says 2027. I point this out simply because a lot of you will read things like that and think to yourself, 2027? Why? He's already in AA. Why would we keep him down another 2 years? Their estimated time of arrival. Okay. And I use that very loosely because they're not really estimated based on anything that the player has done until they get a lot closer, that is. Okay. Most of these lists, they're based on how long it typically would take somebody who was drafted at 17 years old in 2024. They basically just want to show you that 2027 would be completely normal for this player. Now, he's going to probably outpace that. You shouldn't take very much from it. When you look at some other players, you'll see that their ETAs are really far out, or some of them are even in the past. Okay? I just want you to understand how little they really mean. There's an awful lot of other information that goes into that. If a player like Griffin, for instance, is probably very close to getting promoted to AAA, I'd imagine he starts there next year, at least close. Maybe he'll start in AA, but I can't see why. That ETA of 2027 probably won't change, but you'll know better. I mean, you'll know better as soon as he's competing for a position on a spring. Get it? All right, Hunter Barco. And by the way, even after he gets called up, that ETA will remain next to his prospect ranking. And it'll remain saying 2027. I'm saying this so that you aren't under the false impression that these things are constantly being updated and evaluated by scouts, and they're changing the ETAs to kind of match reality. They're set when they're drafted, and for the most part, they don't touch them. They just don't. Let's go into Hunter Barco. Pirates number 4 prospect, ETA 2026, which is possible. He's at AAA Indianapolis. His August stats, he has a 3.20 ERA. Nothing wrong with that. 18 Ks. Problem is he's only pitched 15 innings. They have been extra careful with him. Extra careful. Returned from injury, and he has shown strong command and a new splitter this year. I love Hunter Barco, but I just think he's used up innings-wise. I think they're just being extra careful. Might be talking about a cup of coffee appearance at the very end of this season. I could see that. And I would think that he's in the healthy competition for a spot next year, although not very likely. You can tell there's some other guys that are far ahead of him. But he's the only lefty. He's the only lefty prospect that you can really consider close, at least for the mound. Edward Florentino, Pirates number 5 prospect, number 100 overall in baseball. ETA for him is 2029, which makes a lot of sense because he is really far away and he's in Bradenton, and next year he'll be in Greensboro, I'm sure. But his August stats crazy. 298 average, 6 home runs, 1,000 OPS. He's been on the IL since the 22nd of August. Explosive bat speed, advanced plate discipline. Edward Florentino, outside of Connor Griffin, is probably your next best bet at transformative player. Now, it's very early to say that. It's very early to pretend that I know how he's going to advance through the system or how quickly he's going to be here. I bet he'll beat that 2029 ETA, though. And I bet he'll beat it handily. But as far as ceilings go, Edward Florentino, and body frame, I should say, because there is an expectation that he'll grow into that a little bit more. Edward Florentino is probably your next bet at a huge star hitter. Not to take anything away from our next person on the list, which is Termarr Johnson. Termarr Johnson is the Pirates' number 6 prospect. ETA of 2026, which sounds pretty likely to me. He's in AA Altoona. Solid chance he's in AAA next year. I would imagine he'll start there next year in AAA. he is making elite swing decisions recently, especially. He's really settled in at second base. I actually think he's kind of taken that spot to the point where you're no longer afraid he can't handle it. Sadly, I don't think he can handle any other positions. I know he's not a shortstop. He doesn't have the arm strength to be a third baseman, and I think that would plague him at corner outfield as well. Not to mention the range isn't the greatest. This is not a big kid. You can't put him at first base, too short. So he's a DH or a second baseman. And that's going to be the sticky spot for Termar. When are they going to find a spot for him? Where are they going to find a spot for him? If Nick Gonzalez continues to progress as he has, you're probably looking at an injury, to get Termar a look. Or, potentially DH is where you could end up using him. A lot of what happens with a player like this, though, like when you start to see an ill fit coming, is you still hope the bat progresses and you hope that he makes it ridiculous to not find a place for him or use him in a trade. Now, I'd hate to do that if only because, again, this is one of the better offensive talents they have coming, and I'd rather see them use their pitching depth than use their hitting depth in any way, shape, or form. But the realities of where a guy can play are going to crop up. And Termar is probably victim number one on that list. And it's really just because he doesn't have a lot of places he can play. Sammy Stafura, we got back in the Cabrian Hayes trade. He is the Pirates' number 7 prospect. His ETA is 2027. I think that could potentially be slightly aggressive, if only because I think he's going to have a few slowdown moments as he keeps moving up. In fact, he kind of had his first slowdown moment already in Greensboro. 238 average, 5 home runs, which is nice, but it's Greensboro. And I'm not sure this is a home run hitter, all in all. Rafael Flores, Pirates number 8 prospect, ETA 2026. I could see him potentially getting a cup of coffee this year. We'll see how that plays out. He has done nothing to show anybody that he's anything other than a good hitter. 306 average, 5 home runs, and 901 OPS in the month of August in AAA for the Indianapolis Indians. Very, very good to see. He certainly has come as advertised. The bat seems very real. I worry about his ability to catch at the MLB level, at least as a starter. I don't believe he has that capability. I don't think you can chance all of your pitching on something like that. First base looks like he can handle it. DH, another option for him. The bat, I think, is going to force its way up here. And they're just going to have to find a place for him, even if it's a place where you're not 100% sold on it. And also, I'm not going to discount the fact that he could improve defensively. Henry sure as hell did. Thomas Harrington, Pirates number 9 prospect. He was supposed to be up this year. This is one of those ones with the ETA of 2025. That's not going to happen at this point. He already has been here, but he ain't coming back. August stats, 534 ERA, 90 Ks in 96 innings for Indianapolis. He's been on the IL since, the 29th, so not very long. He has a deep pitch mix, a high floor, and I would say his floor is more attractive than his ceiling for a lot of people. There's a belief that he can only be so bad, right? He has kind of borderline walked that line this year. Not a very good season for Thomas Harrington, and you all know I was very high on him coming into this season. So I'm looking for a rebound coming into 2026 from Thomas Harrington. Wyatt Sanford, Pirates number 10 prospect, ETA 2028. He's in Bradenton. 243 average, 384 on base percentage. He's got 34 stolen bases this season. He has been on the IL since August 2nd. He's seen as having a very projectable bat and an elite glove. So I do expect him to move quickly. He and Connor started the season together in Bradenton, and I think there was a belief at the time that Wyatt was going to kind of stick with him for a minute. Unfortunately, that has not been the case. Wyatt has hit his speed bumps, and Connor has just flown past them and jumped levels, if you know what I mean. A lot of good stuff going on down on the farm. It's elite down there right now. And there's a reason that it's ranked where it is. Be excited about it. It's okay. It doesn't mean that Ben Charrington has to stay just because the system's been good. I know that's why a lot of people are afraid to talk about some of these players, but don't be like that. These players have nothing to do with that. They're good players. You want to see them come up here. Love the players, hate the game. That's what I always say. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about how the Pirates have been using all of these rotation pieces as the season has kind of gotten towards the finishing line here. And I want to talk about whether it's possible to really take a whole lot from it, because next year it kind of can't be this way. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live, the energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person. But actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screens, surprise fees. It takes all the fun out of it. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives you the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by a Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. The app makes it super simple. You can even see the exact view from the seat before you buy it. And I already mentioned it, but it's super important. Know your total up front. The fees are included with no surprise fees at checkout. Download Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. It's time to talk pitching. How could you not? I mean, if you're not going to talk pitching, don't talk Pirates. You know what I mean? Piggybacking and tandem starts, they're pretty common in August. Okay, not just for the Pirates, but every team is trying to manage innings, and this is a very popular way to try to do so. Bullpen arms kind of get mixed into starter roles, and there's piggybacks, and there's all this different stuff going on. Guys like Burrows may bounce back and forth. Ashcraft, Majinski, we've seen all that. Bubba even hasn't even gotten a start yet, and I'm sure he will. So he's going to displace someone else. I think all I want to try to get through in this segment really to you is that what they're doing right now with all of these young pitchers, while it is effective, I would not expect to see this next year. I don't think you're going to see an awful lot of piggybacking intentionally. I think you're going to end up going with 5 starters that you trust. In fact, I really would not roll out the Pirates going outside and grabbing some more help. I think you could fully see them grab another lefty starter. And the only reason I say that is because Hunter Barco, while I believe he'll be ready, I don't know that you want to put the full weight of being the only lefty in this rotation on a fresh rookie that really at that point would have probably only gotten 1 start in the league, if that. That's me just pretending I know he's going to get one this year. And if he does, let's be real, it's going to be like 2 innings. So it's not like he's going to have any actual experience going into next year. That doesn't mean that he has to. Jarrett Jones didn't, right? But 2026, it's going to kind of require clarity. Pirates can't piggyback forever. This month's usage is strategic. I totally get it, but it muddies the waters on evaluating talent a little bit. So I would just say fans should be a little bit cautious about drawing conclusions from what they see in September. The pitching does look great, and a lot of these elements are still going to be here. I just don't necessarily know how they're going to mix and match them all. The other thing I want to prepare you for that I just think it's inevitable. Somebody that you think deserves to be one of those 5 starters next year is probably going to wind up starting in AAA. There's going to be guys that don't make this team. One of them might be somebody like as brilliant as Braxton Ashcraft. I can paint the picture for you really easily how that would happen. Like the Pirates, let's say, start the season with Paul Skeens, Mitch Keller, Johan Oviedo. Let's say they choose Bubba Chandler for number 4, and then 5th is a true open competition, and Carmen Mlodzinski with his curveball beats out Braxton Ashcraft, however it works. Or maybe Mike Burrows really shows up and just looks great and takes that spot. Or the Pirates go sign a 5th starter. Well, you have the bullpen. You can move Mike Burrows to the bullpen. You can move Braxton Ashcraft to the bullpen. You can move anybody you want to the bullpen. The problem is they're not going to want to move them all to the bullpen. They're going to want to have reserve starters. You need to have guys at AAA pitching, starting, so that they're ready to be called up and called upon. You need the depth. You need that depth to be working and ready to contribute whenever you need it. So you're going to have to utilize your AAA, and that means some guys are not going to get there who probably deserve it. Even a guy like Bubba. I know it's really hard to believe right now just watching what he's done so far and everything, but it shouldn't be considered a complete lock that he's in the rotation next year from the jump, because he might not be. There are other guys that are going to get opportunities here. And it doesn't mean like that they've changed their mind on Bubba or they think he stinks or Ashcraft or anybody that it happens to, but you don't get 5 spots here, 6 spots, 7 spots. You're not going to be able to like expand that. You can't run with a 6-man rotation all year. I haven't seen a team do it yet. I've seen teams do it in stretches. You can't do a bullpen game every 5th day. You can't do piggybacks all the time or you'll kill your bullpen. And you'll never develop starters. You'll never develop starters if you're not asking them to stretch and go a little further. And if you're constantly bringing starters in as a piggyback in the 4th or 5th inning and only using them once a week, well, you're never really going to develop those guys either. So in an effort to continue developing the pitching staff, you got to bite the bullet and send a few of them to the minors. It's going to be an interesting spring for that alone. That's before any signings. And an idealistic world, you can kind of build out a roster where most of these guys you make firm decisions on. Okay, you guys are going to be bullpen guys. Okay, you guys are going to be starters. Okay. But that's just not how a healthy team would do it. See, a healthy team wants to be able to look down to AAA and go, God, I would love to get that kid up here, but I don't got a spot. Like that sort of stuff is what forces a team to be able to make a trade of somebody that is valuable, but they feel they can genuinely replace. Or injuries crop up, and then you're well positioned to replace that player. The opportunities will come for people that earn them. They may just not come exactly when you had planned or you feel the team should have had planned. But what you're watching at the end of the season here with all these mix and match pieces, this is not a healthy way to run a pitching staff for 162 games. You can't do it. You can't do it. They can't do it. So don't expect it. And just because it's working right now, don't expect it'll work all season, because other teams are in the process of doing the same exact thing right now, limiting innings on their guys, including the people that are going to the playoffs. You don't think the Dodgers signed Andrew Heaney because they think he's an awesome and essential part of this whole thing, do you? No, they signed him because he should have some innings left. He can work in the bullpen. They've got some experience with him, but mostly they're going to abuse the crap out of him innings-wise here for this last month. And if he's got anything left for the playoffs and performed well, great. If not, he's eating innings. That's what he was intended to do. Every team's playing that game. So you're not really going to get a whole lot of indication about how other teams are setting up their rotation either. Look at like the pitching probables on every single day. you'll see that no team is projecting out their starters more than like 3-4 days, including the playoff teams. It's TBA versus TBA just about the rest of the way. That's baseball. And I'm telling you that this is part of baseball too. And next spring, just keep an open mind. I think you're going to be a hell of a lot happier when you start talking about this pitching staff. Don't get upset about who does and doesn't make it. Just trust that this team wants to win. They're going to pick the 5 they think give you the best shot. You're in a position where they can hardly go wrong here. The pitching is phenomenal. You've never seen anything like this play out in Pittsburgh before. Neither have I. Let's keep an open mind about it as we watch it. Ashcraft showed guts. The farm system is thriving, and the pitching staff, it's a bit in flux if you ask me. Next year's rotation will look very different, but that's not a bad thing. Thanks for listening to Locked On Pirates. Subscribe, share, let me know which pitcher you think is for real heading into 2026. Talk to you tomorrow. Let's go Bucks.